Sean, and I am the Beetle. Wow, we are back, and I know you are settling in to the college football playoffs. And wow, what a weekend of college football games to determine the college football playoffs. And the title of the show, you know it, the title of the show is College Football Playoffs. Predictions! That's right, I'm going to tell it like it is, and I don't like the college football committee deciding who the top 4 teams are, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give a deeper dive in some of these issues. And you know, I've already said the college football committee is a joke. Please look at my other video calling out the college football committee, but this show is entitled College Football Playoff Predictions. There you go. Wow, I'm still hyped up from this college football weekend. Saturday, it was one championship game after another. Starting with really the MAC championship. The MAC championship was Friday night, in which Ball State, check this out, Ball State beat Buffalo. Love that game. Give it up to Ball State in Indiana for winning the MAC championship. They won that game in Detroit. At Ford Field in Detroit. So I saw that game Friday night, and then Saturday, we were fortunate to see so many championship games. Ohio State barely beat Northwestern. Oh, and I'm from Ohio. Oh no, I'm a Buckeye. And Ohio State Buckeyes barely won the Big Ten championship. Yes, and I saw what was it? Clemson and Notre Dame. Clemson took care of Notre Dame big time. It was no match. Trevor Lawrence, wow, what a talent. Clemson beat up on Notre Dame, and Alabama took care of Florida. So now we have the college. Now let me get to, I know, and I already called them out. And the teams that are on the outside were Texas A&M and Cincinnati. That's right. I called out the committee about Texas A&M and Cincinnati. They're not in the top 4. And give it up to Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M, really trying to call out the college football committee and all his hard work and this team and their so-called resume was not good enough to be in the top. It's all about, I'm getting straight to it. I'm 3 minutes in. You know what it was about. You know the top 4 teams are all about, brand. It's the brand of each college team and each conference. It's the brand. And it's the money and the revenue that they could generate in this COVID-19 year. Man, can you believe? Now just take a deep breath. We made it. All of us college football, we actually made it through this COVID-19 situation where players have to stay out and then come back, canceling games right and left. But it's December now, December 21st, and we actually made it through the different conferences, the Big Ten, ACC, AAC, Pac-12, Mountain West. That's right. And the Oklahoma team, the top 12. I used to live in Texas. I can't think of the conference there. But anyway, it comes down to the college. Please like or subscribe and let me know what your decision, what you think about. And I'm going to give a shout out to, oh my God, I'm going to give a shout out to Paul Feinbaum. Paul Feinbaum, SEC superstar evaluator, superstar. He is the man, Paul Feinbaum. And I watched your show. By the way, Paul. Wow, I'm giving a little love to Paul Feinbaum. Yeah, he's tradition of SEC and just tradition of being a top-notch journalist, critique, telling like it is. And so I'm giving a little shout out to Paul Feinbaum and the college football. He does the radio show every day, and really breaks down the issue. And a lot of athletes, coaches, administrators come there and tell it like it is. And I'm sure he will be delighted to see, not delighted, but not pleased with the top four. You can't be pleased with it. And I'm just telling like it is on this Monday, how the committee comes up with these top four teams, because it's all about branding. It's all about revenue. It's all about ratings. It's not about the teams that are, think about Coastal Carolina playing, going undefeated. Think about BYU having a fantastic year. Think about how Florida played very well against Bama. Excuse me. And yet doesn't get in the top. They are the top team. I give props to Florida. But I'm just going to call it out. I was not impressed by the Ohio State Buckeyes in that game against Northwestern and how they played in the only 6 games in conference games that they played this year. Only 6. Yet the Ohio State Buckeyes get in the top 4. Oh, man. It's all about brand. I understand that, but come on. It's all about talent by the end. And again, I'm going against my own tradition, saying that the Ohio State Buckeyes really do not belong in this college championship. I came to that decision watching Northwestern really take it to the Buckeyes. And the Buckeyes look not so good. Bad in that game. And they struggled against Indiana, too. And they haven't played any out-of-conference teams. And this goes to the Big Ten commissioner, too, for not even thinking that they're going to have a season. And now they only play in-conference games. Well, guess what? The Buckeyes didn't really find their groove. You got to have non-conference games. And this goes to the Big Ten Conference Commissioner, too. Because the Buckeyes are not playing the elite teams. And so, now I'm going to get to the playoffs. I'm 8 minutes in. Now it's Alabama versus Notre Dame and Clemson versus Ohio State. This is the playoffs. Bama versus Notre Dame. Clemson versus Buckeyes. Let me get to the first game. Clemson will take out Ohio State. I don't see how Ohio State will. Even though Ohio State had a number of players out during that championship game, what I've seen throughout this season, even with Justin Fields and Olave, the wide receiver, is exceptional. But that defense of the Buckeyes will not be a match for Clemson and Trevor Lawrence and Etienne. I mean, Clemson, let me just say this. I've seen Clemson live last year against NC State. And when you see the players live, Trevor Lawrence is he's the real deal. This dude is big as quarterback. And you see Etienne, he's big. And you see the wide receivers, they're big. They're professional athletes. Let me just say this. I said, dang, they're professional athletes already. And I also saw the Ohio State Buckeyes. Yes, I saw the Ohio State Buckeyes a year ago. And I wasn't impressed. They actually beat up on my Miami University, Ohio MAC team. I was there. Yes, I was there in the horseshoe. Seeing the Buckeyes beat up on my head. And a matter of fact, I was visiting my daughter and saw that game. So, again, I was not impressed back then. That was in 2019. Wow, it seems like it was so long ago now. But anyway, I digressed. Sorry about that. But in this matchup, Clemson versus the Ohio State Buckeyes, I'm picking Clemson. Okay? I'm picking Clemson. That's my prediction in the first game. Clemson versus the Ohio State. And I'm going against, wow. And let me just say this. My brother, I'm not even going to, my brother said, man, I love the Buckeyes. I'm still going to, wait a minute. I love the Buckeyes too. I love the Buckeyes, but when it comes down to talent, I'm picking the most talented team. And then when it's Clemson versus the Buckeyes, I'm going against I'm picking Clemson. Okay. I don't stop loving on the Buckeyes, but reality hurts. Reality hurts. Clemson's just a better talented team, and let me just say, Dabo Swinney, the head coach for the Clemson, and I like Brian Day. I really like Brian Day. I'm the head coach for the Buckeyes, but I just have to say, I've seen Clemson up close and personal. They're the real deal. So Clemson will beat Ohio State, and Bama going against Notre Dame. Now, Nick Saban, the tradition of the Bama, Alabama. Matt Jones, the wide receiver, and Notre Dame, and the quarterback. It's not gonna be. It's gonna be a beatdown. Let me just get this out real fast. It's gonna be a beatdown. A Bama versus Notre Dame. A beatdown. Did I say that? I'm going to say this woman. A beatdown. A Bama versus Notre Dame. Now, if it was Texas A&M, it would be much more physical. But Notre Dame gets that fourth slot. They get into this game because of brand, because of... Did you hear that? Did you see that? Because of money, because of ratings, but Notre Dame will get a beat down by Bama. Yes, they will. So much talent on that Bama team. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Let me just say, it's ridiculous on the Bama team. It's just too much talent. Too much talent on Bama's team. But they were challenged by Florida because Florida had a lot of talent on their team too. It's just that the head coach for Florida, he blows it all the time. He messes things up. But let me just say, Bama against Notre Dame and Kelly, the head coach. Kelly has really improved his style. I give him much. He's really matured head coach for Notre Dame. I get, and of course he was the head coach for the UC Bearcats back in the day, several years ago. But Bama against Notre Dame, it's going to be Bama. It's going to be a blowout. Now that game will be a complete. But Ohio State, again, Clemson will win that. So in the final game, on 13 minutes, it will be, oh wow, what a revelation! Alabama versus Clemson. I'm not going to give you my prediction on that, but wow, what a rev. After all of this, it comes down to Bama versus Clemson. The two teams that started off the season at the beginning in September. And it really comes down also to the commissioners of the SEC and the ACC starting the season in the midst of COVID, said, we're going to start it. In the midst of everything that was chaotic. They said, we're going to get through this. Because these teams need to play. These players need to play. They're willing to take the risk. And they took the risk. They took the chances. They made the adjustments. Give the SEC and ACC credit. Not the Big Ten. Not the MAC. Not the Pac-12. Yeah. I'm calling y'all the other conferences out too. I give props to the SEC and the ACC for standing strong and say, we're going to make the adjustments. We know what's happening nationally, internationally, but it's time to bring back some normalcy, to get things in place, to move forward, not stay stagnant. So I give props And the last, see, I'm from the Midwest. I'm from the Buckeye area. And wow. And the SEC stood up and said, we're taking a step forward. And I heard the commissioner for the SEC. He's a great guy. Heard the commissioner from the ACC. He's a great guy too. And they just said, in the midst of all the criticism and all the naysayers, they said, we're going to start the season. And look which teams will be in the final game. Alabama and Clemson. There you go. So a lot of this stuff really comes down the leadership. Wow, the leadership from one, because NCAA football is such a divisive environment. Everyone thinks that they're the best league, but the most talented players, let me say, the next generation of players want to go where you can be seen, where you get national championships, where the branding is just right. And wow, Bama and Clemson are those two teams. And I give props, of course, Notre Dame and Ohio State, great brand, great traditions. But with regards to this year, under the COVID situation, under all the midst of everything that's going on, they're just not as talented as these other teams. And dare I say that they don't even deserve to be in the championships. I said it. Notre Dame and the Ohio State. Wow. Really, really did not deserve to be in this playoff game. This mystic playoff situation. So there you go. It comes down to that. What do you think? You agree or disagree? Like or subscribe? Just send me a response on the YouTube. Because I'm going to have another follow-up, because once the conference, these playoff games happen on January 1st, and by the way, they're not playing, the Rose Bowl's not being played out in California. They're playing in Texas because they want to make sure they have fans. So that's a good deal. Texas, and I think also in the Superdome for the Sugar Bowl, Clemson or whatever, I think they're playing further east, not playing on the West Coast. Because, again, they're not allowing fans in the stands. So, should be exciting games. The hype is already in place. But it's all about branding. It's all about revenue. It's all about ratings. But when you look at talent, yeah, these other two teams should not really be in the equation. But it's about branding, it's about ratings, it's about revenue. I get it. But I just got to do a deeper dive and just tell it, break it down, and tell it like it is, because that's what Football 101 does. We tell it like it is. We go beyond the branding. We go beyond being politically correct. We just tell it like it is. Because why? Because I'm a former football player and I know the real deal. Because that's what football players want to hear. That's what the fans want to hear. Tell it like it really is from a student athlete's perspective. Yes. Former student athlete, I'm telling it like it is. It's not, and give props to, let me just say, give props, really by the end of the day, this is what I forgot to, but now give props to all the student athletes who made it through this season. Each and every one of the student athletes on all the college football teams that are playing now or playing in bowl games, give them and their families the ultimate credit. All of them should receive a special award from going through all the quarantine situation, all the testing, all the starting, canceling games, will the game be played, all the training during the off season, during the summer, not knowing if they're going to play. So my props, really, let me just say, my props go to all the student athletes, the football players that really put it out there. All the adjustment mentally and physically. Such a major challenge. And I believe none of us really, I'm just saying this as a former alumni football, none of us could have dealt with this. Particularly, I don't think none of my teammates could have really, we would have got through it, but wow, this is a big adjustment. And this is a big, and many times most of us really got to put ourselves in the shoes of these student athletes and just say, could we have gone through something like this? So my hat, and I salute all the players that still playing and have played this season. My hat is off to you. I salute each and every one of you because you've done an exceptional job in the midst of all the stuff that's going on. And you made it entertaining for us, the fans, still the fans, to keep on cheering on for the college football championship. So yes, this is college football playoff prediction show. I predict Alabama over Notre Dame, Clemson over Ohio State, and then the big game is going to be Bama versus Clemson Tigers. See ya. Be back soon. We out.